G'day everyone, it's Sam. This is Strong Yoga for Beginners. So maybe you're brand new to the practice of yoga, but you have an understanding of how to move in your body. Maybe you work out at the gym, you play sports, or you're active in other ways. So maybe you understand the biomechanics and the function of the body, you just haven't integrated it onto the yoga mat before. So this series is hopefully for you. Whether you are brand new to the practice or you're a seasoned practitioner, it's still good to come back to the foundations every now and then to get a more fresh understanding. Maybe you're feeling a bit stale or stagnant in your practice. So we work to break down some of the fundamental principles that help us build that strength and stability in the body. So grab yourself some blocks, and when you're ready, we'll get started. So we are going to get started just in a comfortable seat because we want to find a nice calm flow of breath. So sit up nice and tall, cross-legged, or you can sit back on the heels, whatever works for you, it doesn't matter. Just let your arms hang heavy. You can let your palms turn up towards the ceiling, or you can have the palms face down on top of the thighs. Let your eyes close, let your mouth close, and just begin to breathe in and out through your nose. So at the beginning of practice, always a chance to set an intention if you have one. Well, our intention for this series is to build strength. So we're going to try and call upon some of that power we have within. So as you start to inhale, imagine you're feeling a fire or a power swirl around in the belly. And as you exhale, you're releasing that power. Feeling a little stronger each breath. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhale, let it go. Helping to build a little bit of fire in the belly as well. Breathe in. Let it out. We'll just take one more like that. So it's your journey now. Great stuff. We'll open the eyes from here and just take it onto all fours, hands and knees, coming to the shape of tabletop. So you notice the hands are stacked underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. We want to understand this idea of pushing away from the floor. So not falling against or falling towards the earth, but instead pushing away, resisting gravity, as it were. We want to press down through the space between our index finger and thumb. So imagine that inner part of your hand was a little more heavy as you push to lift the upper back and the chest away from the floor. I'm going to spin those biceps towards the front, get started just with 3 rounds of cow-cat. So on your inhale, let your belly soften, pull your chest forward through those straight arms, lift your chest. Big breath. As you exhale, chin draws to chest, we push round through the upper back and curl the tailbone under. So think of the inhale as an opening, an extension through your spine. Chest pulls forward. We lift the gaze. Exhale, we close everything off. We tuck it in, pull the chin in. One more like that, just the same way. And we'll come back to that nice neutral spine. So this cow-cat is a great way to warm up the spine. We are just going to play with some different variations today, just to understand a little more strength. So we're going to pop up onto the fingertips. This will just help to integrate the muscles in the hands, the wrists as well. And exactly the same, just 3 rounds of the cow-cat. Inhale, belly softens, pull the chest forward, lift the gaze. Exhale, tuck the chin round the back. We want to keep the arms straight, but you can bend first to really understand that idea of flexion through the spine, of rounding through the upper and middle back, of chin drawing to chest. And again. One more just for good luck. Inhale, pull that chest forward, lift the gaze. Exhale, tuck the chin round through the back. Excellent. Drop the palms down flat, tuck the toes under. From here, hover those knees just an inch up and away from the earth. And now we really start to integrate the core a little more. And you guessed it, 3 rounds of cow-cat. Inhale, let your belly soften. Keep the knees floating, chest pulls forward, gaze lifts. Exhale, tuck the chin round the back. Look at your knees, see if they're still away from the floor, but not too high. 2 more. Feel that segmental control of your spine as you manipulate through tailbone, crown of head. 1 more. Really push, draw the navel in, feel the core start to activate, and then gently lower your knees down. Nice work. We're going to shuffle the knees just a touch backwards now, and then move the hands just a touch further in front. So no longer in the tabletop shape, in this awkward quadrilateral shape. So the hands are in front of the shoulders, the knees are behind the hips. We push through the inner part of the hand, we wrap the biceps forward. We're going to keep the toes tucked under here. So on the inhale, drive the hips forward, let them lower down towards the floor. And then pull your shoulder blades back towards each other, press through the hands to lift the chest. So this is a little modified upward facing dog. We're not jumping down towards the floor, we are pushing to elevate and lift away. And as we do want to open the heart here, the shoulder blades draw back towards each other, it's the chest that's drawing forward. Take a breath. And on the exhale, send the hips all the way back towards the heels, keeping the toes tucked under. So it's the first round, you can let the head drop down towards the floor here. Keep the elbows lifting up off the mat, and once again, the inner palms pressing heavy. Let's take 1 breath here. Stay for the exhale. And then we're going to move through those 2 movements, flowing with our breath. So on the inhale, come through all 4s. Let the hips drop down towards the floor, pull the shoulders back, lift the chest. And on the exhale, send the hips all the way back towards the heels, keep the toes tucked under, the elbows lifting. 1 more, just the same. Inhale. Nice one. And this one we're going to mix it up just a touch. So inhale, come forward just like we did before. This time as we drop the hips and pull the shoulders back, press through the balls of the feet, lift the knees up and off the earth. So modified upward facing dog again. Take a soft bend in your elbows. Really wrap the shoulder blades back towards each other, and then re-straighten the arms by pressing through the hands. Take a breath. On the exhale, keep the knees lifted, send the hips all the way back towards the heels and pause. Looking back towards the toes, keep the toes tucked under, the knees drawing towards each other. Push through the inner palms, take a breath in. And on the exhale, straighten those legs and come to downward facing dog. So the intention here is to get length from wrists to tailbone. Bend your knees if you need to allow that to occur. So rather than the legs being straight and the torso coming forward, bend the knees, send the hips back, drop the chest towards the thighs. Breathe in. Let it go. And if you can, walk your feet just 1 step further back. Take them a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. So we're spreading the feet, so getting a little more surface area here. Then pushing down through the hands, we're going to lift the heels nice and high, roll forward, find a plank pose. Again, we understand we're pushing away from the floor, we are resisting gravity. Shuffle the feet so they're as wide as your hands. Then press your heels back, move your chest forward. From here, push into your right hand a little more. See if you can come up onto the left fingertips and just see what that difference in sensation does to the right side of the body. Push to elevate the right shoulder and right hip. Draw the navel into spine, squeeze the glutes. And if there's space, take your left hand, just rest it on the right shoulder. We'll be here for 5, 4, keep that belly drawing in, 3, 2, and on 1. Soften that left hand down, push through the inner part of the hand, pop up onto the right fingertips. Once again, just see what that does. You might need to lift that left hip a little more, grip the mat with the fingertips, pull the belly in. And if there's a little more room to go extra, right hand to left shoulder. We're here for 5, 4, for 3, belly in 2, on 1, right hand to mat. We take the hips up and back in downward facing dog. Now walk the feet together. Push down through the hands. Inhale, reach the right leg up and back behind you. Flex the toes towards your face. Let the heel be the highest thing to lift. And as we exhale, draw the right knee to the back of the right arm. So come up high on the left toes, roll the shoulders over the wrists. Then gently lower the right knee down towards the right wrist, but don't let it touch the floor, let it hover. Then push through the hands, lift the right knee as high as you can, up the back of the right arm. And then take your right leg back up towards the sky. Full breath in. This time as we exhale, we just draw the right knee to chest. We roll forward and gently step the right foot between the hands. From here, come onto the fingertips. Let the back knee drop down. Flex that left glute, press the hips forward. Inhale, reach your arms up. Full inhale, look towards those thumbs. And as you exhale, we guide the hips back, work to straighten through the right leg. The fingertips to the earth and fold over your right thigh. So in this variation of the half split, we are sitting our left hip all the way back towards the left heel and stretching out through the bottom of the left foot so the left toes are tucked under. A little different sensation, gives us a little more strength in the bottom of that left foot. You flex those right toes towards you a little more. Can you pull your chest further forward? Take a breath in. Stay for the exhale. And we lift the chest, straighten the arms, rebend the right knee, come forward to the lunge, then ground the palms down flat, lift the left knee up and off the earth, and then hover the right foot up and off the mat. Push through the hands, draw the right knee to the right collarbone. Be here for 5, 4, for 3, 2, on 1. Step it back to plank. We'll drop the knees down here. On the inhale, send your hips back towards your heels, keep the toes tucked under. Then on the exhale, we're going to plank pose. So push down through the hands, lift the knees, roll forward. And then in slow motion, bend the elbows, lower all the way down towards the floor. Push down through the tops of your feet. Pull the shoulder blades back towards each other. Inhale, lift the chest. Find Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose. Hug the elbows in. Look forward. Keep the crown of the head reaching up. Inhale. Exhale, gently drop the head. Then tuck the toes under. The choice is yours. You can keep your knees grounded, or if you want a little stronger option, we lift the knees up off the mat. We're going to work through a push-up. So press down through the hands and feet. Push. Maybe those knees were grounded. Then send the hips up and back. The downward facing dog. Big breath. Exhale, let it go. Then inhale, reach the left leg up and back behind you. See if you can watch it as it rises. Keep the hips nice and square. Then exhale, left knee to the back of the left arm. We roll forward. From here, lower the left knee down towards the left wrist without it touching the floor. And then push to lift the left knee as high as you can up the back of the left arm. And take it straight back towards the sky. Full inhale. And this time as we exhale, knee draws to chest. We simply step that left foot between the hands. As the back knee lowers down, we keep those right toes tucked under. Send the hips forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. Look between the thumbs. And as we exhale, send the hips back. So right hip all the way back towards the right heel. Left leg straight as we fold over the left thigh. So important to try and keep a little bit of life in the left leg. Whenever we come into these single leg hamstring stretches, because the hamstring feels so much, it's easy for the foot just to fall asleep. But we want to keep the foot active. So if that means you need to bend the knee a little bit, you can bend your knee there, that's fine. Chest is moving forward, spine is a little bit longer. Take an inhale. In the mouth, we let it go. And push through the fingertips, lift the chest. Let's rock back to the lunge, left knee bends. Palms ground flat, right knee lifts. Then push through the palms, hover, left knee to chest. Be here for 5, press through the inner palms. 4, wrap the biceps forward. For 3, press your right heel back. For 2, move your chest forward. And on 1, step back to the plank. Gently lower your knees to mat. Then inhale, send your hips back to heels. On the exhale, we're going to spring through that plank. So roll forward, bend the elbows, slow motion lower, all the way to the floor. Then press through the tops of the feet, inhale, lift, cobra pose, pull the shoulders back, Then exhale, gently lower the forehead to the earth. Tuck the toes, use the knees if you need. Push to the top of the plank and come back to downward facing dog. So that's our little flow there. We're gonna run through that 2 more times, building the pace. So we're gonna move a little bit quicker and also add a few bits and pieces on top of that. So when you're ready, we'll take 1 breath together. Open the mouth to let it go. Then inhale, reach your right leg up and back behind you. Exhale, right knee to the back of the right arm, roll forward. This time pop up onto the left fingertips, gently lower your right knee down towards your right wrist without it touching the floor. And then lift the right knee as high as you can, come up high on the left toes. Ground the left palm flat, inhale, right leg straight up and back behind you. And exhale, right foot steps between the hands. Back knee drops, inhale, reach the arms up, single breath. This time as we exhale, send the hips back to heels. Keep your hands floating up and off the mat. Flex the right toes towards the face. Fall over your right thigh. Nice way. And then to come back to the lunge again, we try not to use the hands. Just rebend the right knee, roll forward. And then lift the left knee up and off the mat. Press down through the palms, hover the right knee up and off the earth. Be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. Come back to the plank, drop the knees, inhale, hips to heels. Exhale, spring through plank, slow motion, lower to the floor. Tops of the feet press down, inhale, lift. Cobra pose, if you want to take it further this time, press through the tops of the feet and the hands to lift the thighs. An upward facing dog. Soft bend in the elbows, pull the shoulder heads back, then re-straighten the arms. Breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up and back behind us. Exhale, left knee to the back of the left arm, roll forward. Come onto the right fingertips, lower the left knee just down to the left wrist without it touching the floor. And then push to lift the knee as high as you can. Soften the right palm flat. Inhale, left leg straight up and back. Then exhale, left knee draws to chest. We roll forward gently. Step that foot. Lower the back knee. Inhale, reach the arms up, palms pressed together, look up towards your thumbs. And then exhale without the hands. Send the hips back to heels. Straighten the left leg. Fold over the left thigh. Of course, if you need to pop the fingertips down, that's completely fine. Keep that left foot flexing towards you. And then coming back to the lunge, rebend the left knee. Ground the foot flat. Lift the right knee up and off the earth. Then palms flat, left knee draws to chest. We're here for 5, 4, pull the belly in 3, for 2, on 1. Take it back to plank, lower your knees. We'll come through that vinyasa. So the inhale sends the hips to heels, the toes stay tucked. The exhale will spring us through the plank as we bend the elbows to lower all the way down. Nice one. Pushing through tops of feet, inhale for cobra pose. Option to take it into upward facing dog by using the strength of the triceps to push your thighs up and off the earth. And then the exhale will take us back to downward facing dog. Nice way. Take a breath. Hold for the exhale. And we have 1 more round. Option to spice it up a little more if you want. If you want to stick with what we did, round 1 or round 2, that's completely your choice. The inhale is going to reach the right leg up and back behind us. Exhale is going to take the right knee to the back of the right arm. We come onto the left fingertips, lower the right knee down towards the right wrist, and then lift the right knee on the back of the right arm as high as you can. Now from here, if you want to take it further, see if the left hand can tap the right shoulder while the right knee is on the back of the right arm for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. Left palm flat, right leg straight up and back. Inhale. Exhale, right foot steps between the hands. We keep the back knee lifted this time. Big bend in the right thigh. Inhale, reach the arms up. Look up towards the thumbs. Sit deeper in your right thigh, but see if you can straighten through that left leg. Inhale. And as you exhale, lower the left knee to the earth. Send the hips back to heels. Straighten through the right leg. Keep the right toes flexing towards you. Nice one. I'm going to be here for one more breath, so breathe in. Open the mouth, let it go. And ground your fingertips down in front of your shoulders. Push to lift the chest. The hips will rise, the arms are now straight. And just for fun, we're going to go for a strength challenge here with our hip flexors. So push down through the fingertips, draw the navel in, flex the right foot towards you. If you can, lift the right leg up and off the mat for 5. Keep the quadricep flexed for 4. Keep the foot flexed for 3. Keep pressing through the hands for 2. Pull the belly in for 1. And then soften the right foot down. Woo. If that one worked, fantastic. If it didn't, you know we've got the left side to go later on. So step that right knee back to the left. Ground the palms flat. Inhale, send the hips back to heels. Exhale, spring it through the plank pose. Slow motion, lower. Then tops of feet push down. Inhale, lift for cobra. Option to take it into upward facing dog. And the exhale will take us back to downward facing dog. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is our last side. So reach that left leg up, full breath in. Exhale, left knee finds the back of the left arm. Come onto right fingertips, lower the left knee to the left wrist. And then pull that left knee up as high as we can. Stay here, or right hand to the left shoulder for 5. See if the left knee can stay connected to the left arm for 4. Squeeze the left heel in towards the butt for 3. Pull the belly in for 2. Then on 1, right palm flat. Take that left leg back up. Inhale. Exhale, left foot steps between the hands. My gosh, body is working. Back knee stays lifted this time. Big bend in the front thigh. Inhale, reach the arms up. Look at those thumbs. Drive the left thigh bone down. Lift the right knee a little higher. Reach the arms up as tall as you can. Breathe in. Then exhale, the back knee will drop down. We send the hips all the way back to that right heel. Without using the hands, we fold over that left thigh and find just a moment of rest here. Extend the crown of your head forward. Flex those left toes towards the face. Breathe it in. Open the mouth, let it go. Set the fingertips down in front of your shoulders. Push to lift your hips. Straighten your arms. With those left toes flexing towards us, we drive down through the fingertips. We round through the upper back. Pull the belly in. We summon up all the strength we can possibly muster. And if it works, we lift the left leg up and off the mat for 5. Keep it flexing. 4, really push down. 3, draw the belly in for 2. Hold for 1. Then lower that left foot down. Gently slide it back next to the right. Send the hips back to heels. Ground the palms down flat. Big inhale. Exhale, spring through the plank. Bend the elbows. This time we're just going to lower all the way to the floor and pause there. Untucking the toes so the tops of the feet push down. Keeping the hands underneath the elbows, down by the low ribs, hugging the elbows in towards each other. And we're going to press down through the feet until we feel the knees lifting up off the mat. That's when we know our legs are active. And as the knees lift, shoulders roll back, we're going to lift the head. So as the head lifts, keep the chin drawing in, the gaze down, just to the top of the mat. And keep the hands where they are, push down to lift the legs. Nice one. So the crown of the head reaching forward, 2 big toes reaching back behind us. Then from here, hover the hands up off the mat. So squeeze the elbows back towards each other, like your forearms are parallel to the earth there. Take a breath in. Hold for the exhale. Then lift everything a little bit higher. Take a breath. Hold for the exhale. One last breath. Lift everything higher. Breathe in. Let it go. And then gently release down to the earth. Taking hands down by the low ribs. Tucking toes under. Choice is yours. Knees or toes. This is the last chance for the push-up. Press down to lift. And then take the hips up and back, finding downward facing dog. From here, we're going to locate our blocks and just pop them on the second height, slightly wider than your shoulders. So over this series, we are going to work to introduce and integrate some stronger transitions of the yoga practice, and one of them is the jump through from downward facing dog to get yourself onto the bottom. But we're obviously going to take it nice and slow today. So I'll demonstrate what we're doing first and then we'll get into it. So the jump through is essentially in slow motion. The hips lift up nice and high, we hop off the feet. Then once the feet lift, cross one ankle over the next, hug the knees to chest, and deliver the legs through the arms. So it would look a little something like this. Nice and simple, like that. So for today, what we're going to work to do is just walk the feet halfway up the mat. So you're in this really short downward facing dog. You're pressing down through the hands, and this is why we worked all those variations of plank pose to really push, elevate the shoulder blades, protract the shoulder blades. So the arms are straight, we're pushing away from the floor. And from this nice narrow space, all we're going to do is lift the heels, take a soft bend in the knees, but keep the hips nice and high. All we're trying to do is land our bottom between the blocks and bring the knees as high as we can. So as the knees lift, naturally the hips will move forward. So all we're working to do, inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees. On the exhale, quickly cross one ankle over the next. Knees lift, bum lands down onto the mat. Nice work. Then once we arrive, you're going to take one of those blocks and pop it between your shins. Sitting up nice and high on your sitting bones, flexing the toes towards the face, we're going to catch the back of the hamstrings here, so underneath your knees. And as you grip underneath the knees, pull the shoulders back, lift the chest, and then shimmy the feet back towards you. There'll be a point where it feels like you're going to fall, and when that happens, the feet will get lighter. Once the feet are light, lift them up and off the earth. Keep pulling shoulder blades back towards one another. And if there's space, release the legs. We're in Navasana, or boat pose. You're spreading the toes out nice and wide, but keeping the feet flexing towards you. You're holding onto that block for dear life and pulling the shoulder blades back towards to lift the chest. We're going to take an inhale here. And as we exhale, draw the chin to chest, gently lower down halfway. So feel your low back ground, keep your heels floating up and off the earth, and reach your hands like you're trying to touch your feet. This is Ardha Navasana, or halfway boat pose. The more you lift the chest and reach forward, the more the low back will flatten out against the mat. The more the low back can flatten out against the mat, the more support you'll have, the less tension or pain you'll feel in the lumbar there. Take a breath. Exhale, we lift. Come back up, find Navasana. That's the last time we're going to do that, just once today, I promise. Keep those feet flexing, keep hugging that block. Take a breath in. On the exhale, we're going to bring the knees all the way to the chest and lower down onto the back. Take the arms out like two branches of a cactus and let the back of your head rest against the earth. So the knees are bent quite convincingly here. We still have the block between the shins. We're going to keep the arms resting down on the earth. Just take both knees off towards the left-hand side and see if you can let them hover against the earth. So they don't touch the mat, they just hover. So we're using a little more of the muscles in the belly, getting a little more of an active twist there in the lumbar, creating a little more strength. And then push down through those elbows, bring the knees back to center. We'll do the same on the other side. The knees shift off towards the right, they hover just an inch away from the floor. Notice the feet are still flexing. You might want to press down into that right arm a little more so the left shoulder blade still stays grounded. Come back to center. Do one more other side. Starting to slow the practice down now. Just creating a little more support for that lumbar spine. A little more strength and control through the belly. As you gently come back to center, just remove that block. Pop it off to the side. Set the feet down underneath the knees. So the feet are hip width distance apart. And from here, drive your elbows down alongside your body. We're going to press down through the feet and the elbows to lift the hips up and off the earth. Now, as we do this, we want to feel the chest move back towards the chin, the inner thighs hug towards each other, and the weight more in the heels than it is the toes. Maybe you can even lift the toes up and off the earth. This is our bridge pose. Glutes are firming slightly to allow the legs to lift. Belly's pulling into spine. You feel strong, you feel supported. Take an inhale. Exhale, we lower down. Nice one. Keep the arms as they are. Inhale, we lift the hips. Exhale, we lower down. Inhale, we lift the hips. Exhale, we lower down. We got two more, a little different this time. So bring the left knee to chest once your hips land on the floor, and then press your left foot straight up towards the ceiling. So the left leg is straight up towards the sky. Sole of the right foot is pressing down. Same thing as we did before, this time just with one leg. That's the right leg. So take a breath in. Exhale, push through the right foot, lift the hips as high as you can. Keep the hips nice and square. Left toes flexing towards the face, elbows driving down. Take one last breath here. Exhale, we gently lower the hips. Rebend the left knee, soften the left foot down. And starting for our final round of the bridge, hug that right knee into chest, flex the foot, and extend the right leg straight up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale. Exhale, press through the left foot and the elbows, lift the hips up nice and high. If you're looking at the right foot, can you keep the toes flexing like the heel was trying to touch the ceiling? And push into the right arm a little more, lift that right hip higher. Last breath in. Exhale, gently lower your hips down. Rebend your right knee. Let your feet shuffle out a little wider and your knees knock together. Nice one. So we are coming towards the end of practice. I'm just going to work to release through the spine a little bit. So interlace the fingers just above the head for a moment, and then lift your head and cradle the back of your head in your hands. So from here, the feet are wide and the knees are together because that helps the spine lengthen out onto the mat a little more, and that's exactly what we want right now. We want to eliminate the arching in the low back. And then all we're going to do is take our left elbow down towards our left hip. So it's a little side abdominal crunch. As we do this, the right shoulder blade lifts up off the mat. The left shoulder blade flattens out against the earth. Can you pull the belly in towards the spine, feel more length of your spine on the mat, and feel your left side obliques, the left side of your belly, start to contract. Take a breath. Exhale, swing it back to center. Start to come off to the other side. Right elbow down towards the right hip. Left shoulder blade lifts up off the mat. Right shoulder blade flattens out against the earth. Belly pulls to spine. You feel a little more length of the spine grounding there. Take a breath. And exhale, gently coming back to center. Keep the chin to chest, the head lifting up off the mat, and then bring your knees in towards your forehead. Lift your tailbone up off the mat. Bring your knees in a little bit closer. And from here, straighten both legs straight up towards the ceiling. Reach both arms straight up towards the ceiling. So you want to feel your tailbone lifting up off the mat. You want to feel your shoulder blades lifting up off the mat. Only thing grounded is the mid-back. Flex the toes towards you. Reach the arms up a little bit higher. This is our final pose, so we're going to be here for 10, 4, 9, tailbone lifting, 4, 8, shoulder blades lifting, for 7, try not to catch the feet, for 6, pull the belly in, for 5, press the heels up, for 4, reach the arms up, for 3, 4, 2, and on 1, drop the head. Bring the soles of your feet together. Allow the knees to fall out to either side. Rest one hand across your chest and one hand across your belly. So we made our way through some strong postures today. And if you are brand spanking new to the practice, so a lot of it can be overwhelming. That's why so many options are given throughout the practice. There's always options to take it further or options to pull it back if that's what you need. As you make your way through, never feel obliged to take every single option. Be kind to yourself, be kind to your body. Take what you need from the practice and leave what you don't. I hope you allow yourself to be here in stillness for as long as you have. Be kind to your body. Rest as much as you need. And I'll see you all again soon for our second installment of Strong Yoga for Beginners. Peace.